In an ancient Egyptian tomb, over 100 years ago, archaeologists discovered the oldest ever surviving description of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. A fragment of papyrus had been used to wrap a mummified body, and it still had writing on it, including these magical words, hepta, which means 7 in Greek, and the beginning of theamata, which means wonders or sights. So basically, this was a bucket list of the most spectacular sights in the world, a kind of guide so that ancient tourists could travel to them, which means that I can follow these clues and follow in their footsteps.
I've spent years investigating the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
This just has to be one of the best views in the world.
The unique list of monumental masterpieces first written down 2,300 years ago.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh.
Now I'm heading on a thrilling journey to explore them all.
Hello.
Following the trail of ancient travellers.
I love Cleopatra.
And adventurers across 3 continents. Deciphering the mysteries of who built them.
And look, Mausolus and Artemisia.
How.
This was the space. This was his workshop
Exactly.
space.
And why.
This statue was all about the seething power of potential.
With exclusive access to brand new discoveries.
It's not just any city gate, it's the one that leads to one of the wonders of the world.
Absolutely.
To bring the wonders back to life, exactly where they once stood.
Thank you.
My journey begins here in Egypt, on the River Nile. I'm heading for the capital, Cairo.
What an adventure. So this is how travellers have explored the sights of Egypt for millennia. Cleopatra, that great pharaoh, brought Julius Caesar down here on a river cruise, and this beautiful, beautiful waterways taking me very close to my first wonder destination.
Good night, madam. Good
See
night.
you later,
Good night.
thank you.
Good night, madam.
Shukran.
My target lies on a desert plain west of the Nile, the Giza Plateau.
This just has to be one of the best views in the world, doesn't it? So these are the pyramids, and that one over there, the furthest one, that is the oldest and biggest of all the ancient wonders.
Up close, you appreciate just how massive it is. Rightly called the Great Pyramid, it's dominated Giza for a mind-blowing 4,600 years.
I just love this place. You know, the thing is, however many times I've come here, I almost can't believe it's real when I stand next to it. It's the essence of awe-inspiring. Over 400 feet high, and the heaviest building ever made by humans. It's the heaviest building on Earth. If you weighed it, it would weigh 6.5 million tons.
That's 20 times the weight of the Empire State Building. Every year, 15 million visitors flock to see the Great Pyramid. It was a magnet for tourists in ancient times too.
Hi, Salam. Beautiful. What's the name of your camel?
Good camel.
I'm sure it's a good camel. What's the name?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Hello. Hello. Are you a biter? Ooh,
No, don't worry.
They either kiss or bite, camels, basically.
Guides and souvenir sellers have also been here for centuries.
Oh, you're just anybody's, aren't you? Whenever you've come to the pyramid through time, there have been people offering you camel rides or, giving you souvenirs. And Herodotus, no less, who was a Greek historian, who we think came here around 2,500 years ago. When he came, there was a guide who interpreted the hieroglyphs that were on the outside of the pyramid. And he was told that they represented the number of onions and beetroot and garlic that were used to feed the workers. And it wasn't true, but just the guides were making it up to tell stories, even back then for ancient tourists. The beautiful camel. Nice to meet you. Shukran, shukran.
Many tales have been told about the Great Pyramid. Some claim it was built by aliens. But this was a giant tomb for one man, a king of all Egypt, called Khufu.
Salam. Do you have any pharaohs or king? Khufu? Do you have
Khufu, yes.
Khufu, yes. Bakam?
Egyptian money,
Egyptian money?
200 Egyptian pounds.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shukran.
Thank
shukran.
you.
Aha. So I wanted to get this because this is actually a pretty good replica of the only undisputed image we have of King Khufu. And I adore it because it's so tiny, which is ironic, given how massive his tomb was. Thank you. Shukran. Salam. Bye. Bye.
Once the king died, courtiers and priests accompanied his mummified body in a procession across the plateau and right inside the Great Pyramid. I'm about to follow in their footsteps, going into the heart of this ancient wonder. I'm exploring the oldest ever 7 Wonders list. First, the awesome Great Pyramid of King Khufu.
It's just incredible, isn't it? But wait until you see it in all its original glory.
First, we have to precision map the rough stone blocks never meant to be on show. Then add back the lost limestone casing, polished to sparkle like silver. At its summit, a glittering capstone of gold. And not in a desert. When the pyramid was built, this was a lush green landscape with the waters of the Nile running much closer.
Now, I just have to tell you something. Pyramid is actually the name given to this place by the ancient Greeks because pyramis was their word for a little bun or cake shaped a bit like this. For the ancient Egyptians, this was Mer, M-E-R, a place of ascension, because this, in fact, was a launch pad to jettison King Khufu into eternity.
The engineers of the Great Pyramid weren't just building a monument. They were designing a machine to help make King Khufu immortal. To understand how the wonder operated, I need to go inside.
We are incredibly lucky because my team and I have been given access inside the pyramid after sunset, which means we can get to explore its secrets all by ourselves. From the 18th century, when travellers came here, guides would often shoot a gun into the entrance to scare away tomb robbers and ghosts. So wish me luck.
Treasure hunters hacked out this tunnel to reach passages they hoped led to the pyramid's riches.
I mean, just look at this. Even the engineering in here is totally remarkable. So everything about this place is a wonder, both outside and in.
This steep vaulted corridor is known as the Grand Gallery. It's just one of a network of mysterious spaces engineered by the pyramid's architects. A lower tunnel leads to an underground cavity carved out of the bedrock. And above that, there's a second vault, now called the Queen's Chamber. I'm heading for the most impressive of all, the King's Chamber, where we think Khufu's body was brought when he died. Big enough for the mountain of possessions the king would need in the afterlife.
So the whole of the tomb is designed like a giant fortress or a kind of bank vault. So this is where solid blocks of stone could come crashing down to protect the burial chamber itself against tomb robbers. So, this is the King's Chamber. And the walls here are made of solid red granite that's been brought all the way from Aswan, so that's hundreds of miles away. When you see this stone in the desert, it glows with this kind of eerie violet light. And actually red granite is slightly radioactive. So in a way, the king here was being protected in many ways. And this is his sarcophagus. This is where the king would have been laid to rest. So this room itself has its own secrets. I just have to show you this. So this is a shaft that goes right the way out to the outside of the pyramid. And if I put my hand in, the air is blissfully cool on my arm. And so people originally thought maybe this was a ventilation shaft, but in fact, the way this orientates goes directly up in line with the stars. So it's probably the way that Khufu could travel out to be reunited with the universe.
Today, the stray dogs of the Giza Plateau are the only ones with access to climb the Great Pyramid. But we know from the records and images they left, for centuries, tourists too clambered to the top. The pyramid has intrigued for thousands of years. And it's posing new questions thanks to the latest technology. I know a man who can explain what's being discovered.
Hi, Jan.
Jan Franke has spent over 30 years using radar to look through solid rock.
Lovely to see you.
You and I both love this place so much, and it's 4,600 years old.
Yeah.
But the incredible thing is, we don't know everything about it, but you bring science to the story.
Well, that's right. 100 years ago, exploration of the structure would involve, chisels, pickaxes, or indeed explosives. And now we look at it more as a preservation effort. So we would want to use things that would be akin to medical imaging, right? We can't take an x-ray of this because it's a rather large patient. Yeah. But what else can we do? What other sciences can we apply to this to try and map out what's really inside?
Yeah, because the whole thing, it's like a kind of honeycomb in a way. It's full of chambers and channels and shafts.
Indeed, right? And 4 or 5 years ago, a team was able to map out a very large, low-density zone. Now, we don't say it's necessarily a void. It could be anything. Directly above the Grand Gallery. We might, in the future, be able to actually get a shape out of it. And that's very exciting, because that might mean that there is something the size of a cathedral inside that structure that we don't know. We don't even know how to get to it. We have no idea what it contains.
That's the incredible thing, isn't it? This was a tomb, but the body of the king has never been discovered, so it could be in there somewhere.
That's right. We look at the king's chamber, right, and that was just assumed to be the king's chamber, and we think, oh, that's great, but the sarcophagus is too large to fit through the entrance, for example. There's a lot of enigmas around that. Could it be that could be even a decoy? Are there other rooms elsewhere? We just don't know, and that's what's so exciting about this.
So, what about the man behind the tomb? Like wonder seekers through the ages, I've come to one of Cairo's oldest bazaars, heading to meet a friend with unique insight into the motives and mummification of the wonder maker Khufu. Professor Sahar Salim was a key part of a project that scanned all of Egypt's royal mummies found so far.
Thank you so much, Shafran. Beautiful.
This is my favorite, King Seti the First. He was the father of King Ramses II.
Yes.
Whenever I look at him, I just realize the embalmers did a great job in placing pads underneath the skin of the face to give him a beautiful appearance.
King Khufu built his Great Pyramid to last, and he must have wanted his body to be perfectly preserved, to live for eternity.
Is it right that sometimes you get pepper put into mummies?
Yes,
Incredible.
yeah. They did that likely to repel insects and like an antibiotic as well. And the embalmers, they kept the unique features of the king. For example, Ramses the Great, he had this such a unique nose. And the embalmers, in order to avoid it being pressed by the binding and by the linen or so, they put a small bone of a small animal inside the nose.
You're the perfect person to understand this wonder in human terms.
I always imagine myself being one of the ancient Egyptian people. They are my ancestors after all. So I'm thinking with the mind and seeing with the eyes of King Khufu. He wanted the pyramid to be as immortal as himself and to be remembered through this huge project that all the nation, they joined in order to accomplish this legacy of the king.
Amazing. I just adore the fact that this has to be a good sign, doesn't it? That we've been blessed by the company of a cat for our chat. That couldn't be more Egyptian. Yes.
The experts who prepared Khufu's body were part of a workforce tens of thousands strong, all aiming to launch him into the afterlife. Most laboured away on the construction site, using materials brought in from across continents. And every year, there are new finds that tell us how they helped build the pyramid.
It's a total privilege to get in here, and I promise you're in for a treat.
Welcome to our flea market.
For 35 years, Mark Lerner and his team have been uncovering a vast workers' city, along with their possessions and tools. By decoding these everyday objects, they're piecing together the lives of the wonder's forgotten heroes.
And these people, they aren't slaves, because this is almost
the old
like
question.
Yeah.
And
it's
were they slaves?
Yeah.
We have evidence that labor was obligatory, but labor was obligatory through much of the pre-modern world. Now, everybody owed service to somebody above them, their lord, and that was true in ancient Egypt for sure.
Yeah.
They're building the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the biggest buildings in the world until the turn of the 20th century, but they're still in the Old Kingdom at this period, using essentially Stone Age tools. This is bang! I mean, it's a basher.
You would rotate it as you go.
Yeah.
And this is how it creates the sphere shape.
Put a little bit of grain here and then grind it into flour. This jar, we think they may have put cheese in the jar, buried it, and they aged the cheese, and it's called, basically in Arabic, old cheese. A modern casserole. Very simple. This is a combed ware vat fragment, and the idea is that they're combing the surface because oil is very slippery.
So are you taking that back? Are you feeling anxious about that now?
Crude cutting, meat, bone, but they come in all different shapes. Here, fish hook with a little loop for tying it to a line.
So what a thought. So they're building the pyramids, and if they have a bit of downtime, they're going out for a
Well, you see, it
fishing.
implies a bit of downtime. It implies fishing. So we have to factor all this into your earlier question. Were they slaves? How difficult was this work? All of this gets, added in to the puzzle.
And everything you're saying
is a reminder that when we think of these wonders, we shouldn't just think of them as the kind of engineering end product. It's the people who make them, who make
It's
them
the
wonderful.
people who make the pyramids. I realized that to understand the pyramids, I really had to turn my back and look away, but look nearby, you know, for where were they living? How were they housed? How were they fed? And to find these elementary structures of everyday life that made it possible to build the Great Pyramid is one of the most satisfying things in my career.
Mark, what you're finding is amazing, and you're giving the pyramids back to the people who built them, because, you know, by touching them, by looking at this, it allows us to respect them all.
It's what we're all about in our excavations.
It is.
Mark gave me a great tip-off. Experts are scanning intriguing holes around the pyramid that decode how engineers marked out the tomb's giant footprint.
So this is what they're scanning all the way along the south side, every 3 meters or so. You've got these divots where stakes would have been put, and on the stakes would be tied ropes which measured out the matrix of the foundation of the Great Pyramid. So, you know, it all starts here.
When the last measuring rope had been lined up, construction must have begun. The pyramid's army of workers went on to shift 2.3 million blocks of stone into place.
It took between 20 to 25 years to construct the pyramid, which would have meant that one block would have been put in place every 2 minutes, and some of these weigh 15 tons, which of course begs the question that every wonder seeker has wanted to be answered. How did they build this thing?
I'm on a mission to discover the construction secrets behind the oldest and biggest of all the 7 wonders, the Great Pyramid at Giza. This engineering giant didn't spring from nowhere. The ancient Egyptians had been building prototypes for years.
I'm following the route of the Nile because up here there are some brand new secrets I want to explore.
I'm heading 20 or so kilometers south of Cairo to ancient Saqqara, because this is where we find an origin story of our oldest wonder.
This is what's known as the Step Pyramid, and it was actually built by a predecessor of Khufu called Djoser. And it is the prototype for all the pyramids that followed, so there will definitely be clues to the engineering of the Great Pyramid in here.
Researchers surveying this area have developed an intriguing new theory about how all those stone blocks made it to the top of the pyramid.
It revolves around an element that might seem a bit of a surprise out here in the desert: water.
When the Step Pyramid was built, there was much more rainfall than there is today. Flash floods would have sent water coursing through the area as it headed down towards the Nile. And just beside the pyramid's enclosure is a set of huge trenches and shafts that could have been used to store and channel it. Underground pipes have been found connecting these trenches with the center of the pyramid itself.
Hello. So lucky to get in, thank you.
Down below, in shafts not open to the public, is a labyrinth of twisting tunnels leading deep under the pyramid.
This is quite a trail to follow to find evidence, and it is really hot down here. It's
really hot. Oh, look at this. I mean, that is extraordinary. This is just awesome. So, for decades, people have been debating what this was for, but it could be that this huge space is basically a giant lift shaft with the lift mechanics powered by water.
The theory goes that water is channeled into the shaft, where it pushes up a floating raft, which lifts the heavy stones. Stacking up more platforms on the raft lifts the stones even higher, building the pyramid from the inside out.
And you can have a look at this round here. It could be this huge plug basically controlled the water supply, so it would come down to block it, and then it would be released to flood this whole chamber.
This is still a theory, but I love the idea that the engineers who built the Great Pyramid could also have used water power. Remember, the Nile was much closer to our wonder then. Another of this wonder's secrets.
The Great Pyramid is an astonishing wonder. It is gigantic, and it's still standing 4,600 years after it was first built. And it might have been conceived to serve the vision and ambition of a single man, but it was only possible thanks to the ingenuity and collaboration and enormous effort of many tens of thousands.
To reach the next wonder on our ancient bucket list, I'm heading downstream along the Nile, all the way to the coast and the city of Alexandria. It's been the largest settlement on the Mediterranean ever since our wonder list was written down. Alexandria is named after the Greek empire builder who founded it 2,300 years ago, Alexander the Great. This huge harbour was the secret of the city's success, where 300 galleys could dock at any one time, a dynamic crossroads for trade and ideas.
The coastline here is notoriously dangerous, so the people of Alexandria built a massive lighthouse to help the ships come into safety. It was around 100 meters or so high, so that is bigger than the Statue of Liberty. It's taller than Big Ben. It was on that promontory where you can see that fort today, and it would eventually become a favourite on the Seven Wonders list.
Raised around 280 BCE, unlike the Great Pyramid, the lighthouse no longer stands, felled by a devastating earthquake close on 700 years ago. To build a picture of what it looked like and how it operated will take some detective work. In Roman times, travellers came to Alexandria not only to see the lighthouse wonder, but as a health cure.
Number 3 is my room.
Securing a room as close as possible to the beachfront and the sea air was vital.
That's what I call a view. And that tradition seems to carry on right the way through to the 19th century. So there's this brilliant book, which is a guidebook to travelling to Egypt. And it says that you need to pack a medicine chest that contains blue pills, whatever those are, and rhubarb pills, and a rat trap. Luckily, I'm not going to need that in my charming hotel here, in my beautiful view.
I'm heading to the area where we know the lighthouse once stood, The end of this promontory, which used to be an island called Pharos, why the wonder's proper name is the Pharos of Alexandria. Now home to a fort, the lighthouse was a towering maze with a ramp for animals to lug fuel up to its giant flame. Exploring the fort, there are echoes of the ancient Pharos, which had 300 rooms. And fantastically, we do have an eyewitness account of the wonder when it still stood.
Almost 900 years ago, an architect-engineer from southern Spain called Al-Balawi, on his way to Mecca on pilgrimage, came here with some of his mates on what was basically a kind of research adventure trip.
Al-Balawi wrote a meticulously detailed description of the lighthouse, inside and out. It sounds like a thrilling Indiana Jones-like experience as they wandered around inside the empty wonder. He describes 3 sections stacked up on top of each other. A square base, an octagon in the middle, and a circular tower at the top. There's tantalizing evidence that some of the wonder's original building materials have survived right here.
This is a pedestal made of red granite that would originally have had a statue on top of it, and I am pretty certain that this came from the original lighthouse. So I'm going to see what other clues I can track down in the city.
The first place to look is somewhere archaeologists are making remarkable discoveries.
Hello.
Hello!
Underwater in Alexandria's harbour.
Thomas, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
What an adventure.
Thomas Fauché is director of an archaeology institute that's been exploring the seabed here for the last 30 years. And he's taking me to one of the most impressive of their finds. Too heavy to shift beyond the harbour wall, a giant 13-metre-high doorpost from the lighthouse's entrance.
So here we are, the door jamb of the lighthouse.
So this is part of it?
Yes, it was broken into pieces. The 2 blocks are 70 tons.
70 tons. So immediately we're getting a sense of this extraordinary scale. Also, I love the fact that all the fishermen are just hanging out. Yeah, you know, gone fishing next to a remnant of one of the 7 wonders. I've just got to have a moment here as well, because we're bang opposite the royal quarter of Alexandria. We know that Cleopatra would have looked at the lighthouse, and she would probably have walked through that door.
Probably, yes, definitely she had.
It's great, because I love Cleopatra. I'd love to touch it. We're so near and yet so far. So, you know, her hand might have run along the doorpost. It's just incredible, Thomas. It's so incredible.
Based on the find, the team has reconstructed what this monumental doorway looked like.
The 2 blocks that are on the embankment, and that's the one that are still underwater with the lintel of it.
I mean, that really, really is incredible.
And beyond the harbour wall, in the shadow of the fort, something even more remarkable. A debris field of ancient remains.
So you have here the diver with a camera, special camera to go underwater. And then it's taking a lot of photos around the blocks.
The teams mapped over 5,000 blocks in 3D using a technique called photogrammetry.
So what you see here, this is the fort. And so the lighthouse was lying just underneath. And if you go there, you will see all these blocks all around.
It is thick with blocks. It's like a carpet.
Yeah, it's a lot of blocks.
And that's here. I mean,
Yeah.
so we're kind of, actually we're floating a bit. So we're kind of moving
Well,
almost
just
right on
pretty
top of
much
this.
Under the boat is right, these blocks are here, yes.
It's really exciting. I know I'm a bit overexcited. It's really exciting.
The image of the diver rams home the sheer scale of this ancient wonderland. Plotting the heaviest blocks, which stayed where they fell, means the team can now pinpoint the exact location of the lighthouse.
that the location of the lighthouse was not strictly underneath the fortress, but maybe located a little bit few dozen meters right here.
Yeah.
Reality lies under the water, still here.
The underwater archaeology can fill in the gaps left by ancient writers. So, now we can recreate the Pharos Lighthouse where it once stood. Its 3 tiers soared into the sky. The entrance was reached by a giant causeway, at least 100 meters tall. In antiquity, it was only outdone by the Great Pyramid. Huge statues guarded its monumental doorway. Mythical sea creatures known as tritons blew trumpets from its walls. At its summit, an enormous light, able to guide ships to safety. The ancients tell us it was visible from over 50 kilometers away, a welcome beacon for seafarers approaching this treacherous coast. The power behind the beam can be found in surprising places.
You still get these traditional horses and carriages all over Alexandria. It's over here, it's over here. Actually mainly for tourists now. But here's a little fact for you. In the lighthouse, the fuel was mainly horse manure because it gives so much energy and it kind of takes ages to burn and it produces loads of smoke, which they also had in the lighthouse. So, you know, just think about it. This is the descendant of one of the creators of one of the wonders of the world.
Very nice horse.
Very nice horse. It's a very nice horse. Chokta. Salam. Salam. Bye.
What I want to investigate next are the people who dreamt up the lighthouse in the first place, and the dynamic ancient city that nurtured such a technological marvel. I'm in Alexandria, the city Alexander the Great founded on Egypt's Mediterranean coast, investigating its lighthouse wonder and the Greek culture of the people who built it.
So this is one of our wonder makers, Ptolemy I. He was actually a best friend of Alexander the Great back in his hometown in what's now northern Greece. And he ended up being a general for Alexander and then taking over the province of Egypt after Alexander the Great died. And it was he who first conceived of the idea of this lighthouse. Look at this lovely Greek salad, perfect, shukran, shukran. But it was Ptolemy's son, Ptolemy II, who actually completed the lighthouse. Ptolemy II was a bit more of a party boy, so he used to organise these huge parades here in Alexandria with zebras and ostriches and even rhinoceroses and these giant kind of early ancient robotic automata. So he was a man who did nothing by halves, and it was Ptolemy II who witnessed the lighthouse soaring into the sky here.
2 giant statues just inside the lighthouse door were almost certainly Ptolemy II and his wife Arsinoe. Both were salvaged from the seabed in the 1990s, and Ptolemy now stands next door to the modern library of the city, overlooking students from the university here. I'm sure he'd have approved, because the lighthouse was an integral part of the Ptolemy's master plan to make Alexandria a hotbed of knowledge and innovation. Evidence for this ancient melting pot can be found underground. This stairway leads down beneath the city streets to a labyrinth of tombs dating back 1800 years.
What you see down here is what a fantastic international mashup city Alexandria was.
The clues are carved into the walls. It's a heady mix of styles. Egyptian gods guarding a tomb. A Greek shield decorated with a snake-haired Medusa. and a Roman soldier's uniform, sported by Egypt's dog-headed god of the underworld, Anubis.
This place was a kind of gene pool of ideas and inspiration. So, for instance, the Alexandrians invented the steam engine and the world's first vending machine and principles of maths and medicine that we still use today. And the lighthouse was the incarnation of all that brilliance. So basically, Alexandria was a bit like the Silicon Valley of the ancient world.
The key innovation at the heart of Alexandria's towering wonder was its light, with that 50-kilometre reach. So how did ancient engineers achieve this feat?
There are very detailed descriptions of how the lighthouse technology actually works. And basically, what people talk about are polished mirrors, which is almost certainly metal, probably highly polished copper, and just a natural flame. So what we thought we'd do is try to work out how the tech actually operated. And it's exactly the same technology as a car headlight or a torch, where you have a light in the middle and then these kind of concave mirrors around the outside. So we couldn't afford a whole reconstruction of the lighthouse of Alexandria. So what we thought we'd do is get this charming copper bowl, because of course for a lighthouse it's the beam that really matters. And in theory, that's focusing the flame in a sort of laser beam of light, which is currently blinding the cameraman. This is not bad. Not bad, says the director. Oh, is that you're getting a beam from it?
You're getting a beam.
Working really well.
Is it?
It works.
It works?
Yeah.
Well, as we know it did, because we've been writing about it for 2,000 years, but we proved the technology works. We're all so excited it's actually working. Look at that, it's a mini wonder of the world. The Pharos Lighthouse deserves to be on the Ancient Wonders list because it was a technological marvel. No lighthouse as big has ever been built since. But also because of what it represented in this dynamic, cosmopolitan, ancient city of Alexandria. A burning beacon of enlightenment and delight, of invention and vision and wisdom.
Next time, I travel to Greece to investigate two remarkable wonders. The tallest statue in the ancient world, the stunning Colossus of Rhodes, and at the birthplace of the Olympic Games, an awe-inspiring tribute to the King of the Gods.